G'day everyone, it's SDS SuperCoach providing SuperCoach content for you. Here to present Jump On, Jump Off. And hopefully the footage doesn't get corrupted like last week. And joining me again is Brad from SuperCoach Pro once again. How are we going, Brad?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Sort of same shit, different day, but here to talk super coach. So should be good on our first round one. Jump on, jump off, mate. How are you doing though?
Nah, doing good, mate. Doing good. So just smashing out the content this morning, this Arvo, before I go to the G tonight. So
Yeah,
should
nice.
be good fun. My first Thursday game since 2018, which was
Far out.
which was the Richmond qualifying final against us, where you laid the sword to us. So hopefully a bit better luck tonight. But we're here to talk about jump on, jump off. So this is the series if you're new here, where we talk about the most traded in and most traded out players and discuss whether we should jump on or jump off, hold, buy, sell, watch, etc. So let's get into it. So we obviously start with the most trade out players, and then at number one we do have Harry Perryman from the Pies. So obviously scored a 93 in round zero, but unfortunately delivered just a 62 in round one. So now that he's on the bubble this week, people might look to be moving off. Has the break even of 77. Brad, how are you viewing the Perryman pick?
For me, I think it's a bit of a 50-50 call. If you can grab a Basilenko or Rankin from using his money, I'd probably do it. The break even's at a normal point, but the fact that game two he's already tagged and is a bit concerning. So I'm probably more of a jump off, but I'd probably rather get the rookies right first. But for me, if I'm gonna have to not sit on the fence, I'd say jump off. What about you?
Yeah, look, for me personally, I think Baslenka, if you need to get him in and you need Perryman's money to make that happen, you do, but that does also run the risk of having an extra defender rookie on field, and we know how poor the selection is unless you grab a Sam DeConning. But yeah, I think in most scenarios I'm a hold unless you need to get Bailey Smith. We'll watch tomorrow night's game and see how that goes. 77 break even is pretty low. Someone said that his break even's high, and it's like, no, it's not. That's very achievable. So, yeah, I would hold unless you need to get in Bailey Smith. So at number two here, 7.1% are trading out Sam Powell Pepper from Port Adelaide. Obviously, a part of that shellacking against Collingwood. And it was obviously a very poor showing, 180k and scores an 18, 7.1% are trading him out. How we vibing on Powell Pepper? I think most scenarios he is a trade, but um, people might be looking to hold.
Yeah, remember our bet at the start of the season? You said Kako over Pau Pepper. You might have got this one right. It's a bit early, but I think I think I might get rid of Pau Pepper myself. So it's probably a jump off for me. If you can get 18 in a loss and Port lose a few, I'm not keen on a half forward flank that's just gonna score me a 20 or 30. I don't want to run the risk a second time, so I'll probably jump off and get a Levi Ashcroft or something like that by DPP.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are going to be using his money to be getting an Ashcroft or
Yep.
some of these high price mid rookies that we are looking at. So I have no issues with anyone jumping off. Has Richmond this week, so I'll be interested to see if Paul can bounce back in that game. So I don't think, even if you hold, I don't think we're going to be seeing anything much different other than potentially a higher score because I don't think they'll get smacked by 91 this week, but we'll have to see with that. So, yeah, I think in most scenarios you move off. Number three, Elijah Sardis for the Bombers, 57% time on ground, scored a 50. I am on the camp of watching and holding for another week with Sardis. I think he looked a lot better when Redmond moved out of the CBA. So, unless you don't have many other options to get to an Ashcroft or whatever the case may be, I'm not against holding for another week.
Yeah, I'm more reluctant to hold now. Early in the week, I was trading, but if Hobbs gets dropped and Redmond goes back, then the CBAs go up maybe slightly. Um, so I just want one more look at it. Although I do think there's better options for rookies like a Nod per se. So I don't mind sideways. If your team's pretty perfect, cash gen's key. But it's yeah, that one's a pretty 50-50 for me. I'm going to hold personally, I think, at this stage. So
Yeah, of course, and obviously everyone's side is different, so there'll be different scenarios where people need to move off when people need to hold. So, but I think I'm on the camp of holding if you can. And number four, my boy Riley Sanders, 4.6% traded out. Yeah, I'll put my hand up. Got it wrong. Luckily for some people, if they do have Sanders, he's actually probably an easy swap to Bailey Smith since he's roughly around the price. So that's an easy correction to make. Other people use him to go down and then go up to someone that they might have missed as well. So I think he spent the first half a lot on the CBAs, didn't pass the eye test, and then moved into the wonderful Jack McRae half forward role in the second half, where he saved his score by kicking 2 goals. So he is a he's a definite jump off for me, Brad.
yeah, he's a jump off for me too. I just didn't like the role. The goals, like you said, saved him, and he just doesn't seem comfortable in the midfield anyway. Doesn't like know where to go. Just I don't know. Seems a little bit lost sometimes. So for me, he's a trade out, mate, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm surprised that Sanders is playing like this. He'll want the extra zeros on his Tasmania contract. So he needs to lift his game. Number five, another one that I think for most did not pass the eye test in Hugo Garcia. Just the time on ground again was a concern. I think we saw the red flags that some of us coaches probably tried to ignore and just thought 245K at CBAs. We'll see how that goes. But unfortunately, time on ground was poor. The CBAs were at 37%, which is, I think St Kilda were just running with a lot of different options, which I didn't expect in that midfield. But yeah, he didn't pass the eye test for me. If you need to, I think you can very easily jump off Hugo Garcia.
Yeah, I agree. Just jump off him. He looked no good at all. Just same as Sanders, almost look lost on the field half the time, and they look like they're chasing the ball. That's why sometimes the tackle numbers are up because they're letting their opponent get to it first because they're not sure where the hell it's going. So, but yeah, definitely jump off those two in general.
Yep, I agree. Now, number one, at number six, I think we'll have totally different views on this. Number six is one of the highest price players in the game, Lockie Neal, after delivering a 41, his lowest score in 11 years for Lockie Neal. Scored a 41, got absolutely destroyed by James Jordan. He is I can't stress about this enough. He is a hold 1,000%. You picked him because part of the reason you picked him was that easy run. It wasn't last week. It was the potential Richmond and West Coast games in their first 4 games. So, um, as I've said a couple of times, very surprised that Brisbane got this easy of a run in this in after winning the flag, but that's all right. So at 3.5%, please do not trade Lockie Neal. I also think he's close to being the best captain option this week as well. I would just be chucking the C on him if you do have him. So he is 1,000% a hold.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not even going to go over much more than that. I think he's a hold as well, mate. It's pretty obvious for that one. Just got tagged by Jordan. That was it.
Yep, you paid this money for a reason. Hold the faith. He will bounce back. Number seven, we've got James Leake. Honestly, this might sound weird. I think this is a hold just because he's got the bye this week, so you can actually use him as a loophole in the back line. So, and just see if he gets named next week. So I think the Giants will have a bit of an abundance of people coming back into the team. So he was playing more forward, James Leake, which was a bit of a concern with Hogan and Stringer. I'd probably just hold for one more week just to see if he gets named. Yeah, he's a bit of a utility, but I didn't expect him to play that much in the forward, so in the forward line. So I think he's a hold for one more week, Brad.
Yeah, I think he's a hold because you can loop Trainer and Reed or Trainer and Patton, etc. But yeah, he played deep forward for most of the game, almost full forward at times. It was a weird one. So I traded him for weird purpose. a couple minutes before the game. And then yeah, as soon as I watched him the whole game, the role wasn't there. So there's no point going for anyone either because Bice has got his bye next week anyway, so you can wait another week on that. And then you can also look at the debuts that are coming in now. Apparently, there's a few rookies, Dogs and St Kilda rookies on going to be on their bubble. Well, in 2 weeks' time anyway, so you got a free look at it, mate. So I'd hold him as well.
I forgot about that point as well, that GWS do have sorry, the G sorry, no,
Sydney,
Sydney have the bye next week. I totally forgot about
yeah,
that. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's actually just wait and see on like a Riley Bice type, and he's actually last game of the I think he might be in this, so we'll save that talk for later. But I would recommend holding Leak for one more week and just see what other rookies pop up. Now, I think we can combine these two, Harvey Langford and Sid Draper. They were both named sub. Um, I look, everyone's different. I personally wouldn't have picked them when they were named sub, but fair enough. I think their cash gen will be a bit slow to start with. This is a hard one to read because I think especially Sid Draper could really look to get a bit of time now. I think they're just slowly easing him into it. Harvey Langford, I think there's better opportunities elsewhere. So yeah, I'd still say, this is really tough. How do you read it, Brad?
you just hold and see if they're sub again, then potentially you trade. But
Yeah.
you could you could try Langford to Lindsay if you don't have him, but just see who the sub is because they could do it the other way around. And then with Draper, I'm definitely holding because he looked good when he came on. So
Yeah.
I think you don't want to burn him because they're going to make these rookies. You don't really want to spend two trades when they're going to make you 150K. Essentially, you've just burnt off 70 grand a trade, 75K a trade. So probably just hold those kind of rookies that got scoring potential. So yeah, I'd leave those two for now.
Yeah, probably just hold them for another week and see what happens if
Yeah.
they're both named sub again. If one of them are named sub again, you could probably look to swap if need
Yep.
be. At number 10, we got Finn O'Sullivan. I think this might be a little bit overreactionary. 1.6%. I think he's a watch for another week for people that don't have him. And I think he's a hold for people. But I guess for some people, they'll be needing his money to go to an Ashcroft and that type. I'm not convinced on him. I thought he would have played a lot more halfback, but it looks like he's going to be more of a winger. So yeah, I think he's a hold.
Yeah, I think he's a hold too. I think he actually better than his 50 as well because I know we're watching the same game. But for me, I'm kind of hoping that he does get DPP in the back line and I can use him as a D6 instead of like a trainer or a read. So I'm holding him just for that purposes, but I'll obviously track the percentage that he's playing down back and hopefully it's more than normal because we saw the preseason he got 99 Supercoach playing more back than anything. So yeah, he's a definite hold. Wait one more week because you know these rookies can go. Boss could go 100 this week and Ashcroft could go 50. Then what? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's a
and
good
rookies
point.
always tend to do this. Yeah, so I'm holding him.
Yeah, I think yeah, we got to hold a couple of these rookies. As we move into the most traded in players in Supercoach, we look at number one, Bailey Smith. I know some people were a bit nervous about the knee strapping and the potential wing roll, but I think if you need reason for trading in Bailey Smith, have a look at Fox Footy's clip last night of um, Adam Simpson talking about Bailey Smith, why he's so valuable for Geelong, just the way he plays and moves. I think that in itself is a reason to trade in Bailey Smith. And yes, I would recommend him being a must-have. I would use a Perryman to get to him. I'd be doing what it takes to get Bailey Smith this week, and if not 1000% next week.
Yeah, I think he is a jump on for sure. There is a potential Winhager tag potentially, so he might not get that 147 that you're sort of hoping from the last week. But yeah, he was everywhere. He was looking, even at the kickouts, he was looking to be used there. Then along the wing, he's always teammates looking out for him. Mind you, he just throws it on the boot, doesn't look up, but it just went to score involvement. So the roles there, like it was only like 30 something percent CBAs, but he's just got such a good tank that he's going to cover the ground. He's always going to be a top 6 to top 8 forward. I think the strapping on Insta or on Twitter, whatever it was, is a bit of a reactionary move. Like it wasn't that much tape if you actually watched the game at the start. So yeah, definitely jump on for him.
And I guess one thing that I guess one point as well, you think about Bailey Smith and you think of of GMHBA's ground dimensions. The ground is so narrow for even as a winger. We saw with Ollie Dempsey last year where you're just closer to the ball in general.
Yep.
So it's not like the MCG where it's a wide ground, GMHBA is a very narrow ground, and that really helps the wingers like a Bailey Smith and like an Ollie Dempsey last year. So I think, yeah, find a way to get him in this week or next week. Number two, who's actually got the same amount percentage of trade ins, is Sam DeConning. So there's a bit of a mixed reaction with this one. So I, yeah, I would jump on. Yes, it takes a rookie off field, likely. If you want to do like a defender rookie to a deconning and that type of thing. So I'd be jump on, but just monitor his role week in, week out. We know Chris Scott said over the preseason it will look different each week depending on the matchup. So yeah, I would jump on. Just have a little bit of caution.
Yeah, I'll jump on too. I think he can get to like 500k at some point, and you swap him for a fallen primo like let's say Luke Ryan starts to bounce back again.
Yep.
It wouldn't be much of a swap in 6 to 8 weeks time, and then if Stanley does come in after all those hard matchups, then you sort of know where you can go with that trade. So I think he's probably a better jump on than a Fraser because Fraser only took I think one or no kickouts, and it was against North. But STK has the role at least for now. But just to look at the team sheets, if Stanley's named, you're definitely going to reverse that trade.
Agree. Yeah, that's a great point. If Stanley's named, then you've got to have a bit more caution about that move. So at number three, we've got Xavier Lindsay. I would jump on, but I have no dramas with anyone holding out for just one more week just to see how he goes at Marvel Stadium instead of the MCG. So it's obviously a good sign for like wingers having plenty of space like Xavier Lindsay. I think Baslenka and Lindsay have different styles of play where Lindsay suits the MCG, but Baslenka suits um Cardinia Park. So I think Lindsay is a jump on, but I have no dramas with anyone waiting a week.
I think he's more vital than Nod and Ashcroft in some regards because the way he was getting to the ball in the wet, scored an 86 against the Giants, who are like a top 4 contender in the wet, scores an 86. We're underselling this pick, I reckon. He's a pod for a reason. Yeah, the winger halfback role isn't enticing. We saw what Fido Sutherland did. But I think he's up there. He's 50 grand cheaper than those other boys. I might bring you in just against that North Melbourne game to get hopefully that he's my best 18 because I've got 7 rookies on the field.
Yep.
And I think there could be a huge chance that he makes best 18. So I actually really like the pick. In saying that, any of these rookies can score it for 40 next week, and you like, why did I trade him out for that guy?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think Lindsay's a fantastic option. So a guy that we need to have a massive eye on this week or next week. Number four, we've got Max Hall, who scored in 74 against Adelaide in that absolute shellacking at Adelaide Oval. And he's a more of a mature age player, 22 years old, playing a half forward role, but can move up the ground a bit. He was a mid-season draft last year from Box Hill. I was saying on a video last night, I'm not a Box Hill advocate, but I know that when he did play last year, he would rack up the most disposals most of the time, Max Hall. So he knows how to find the footy. Um, I would probably prioritize a couple of other rookies ahead of Max Hall and just wait on another week because we know Ross can just randomly sub out some good options. So yeah, I would probably watch for another week, but if you want to bring him in, you're more than welcome to.
I've got a huge call. I reckon he's going to be the best F6 rookie we have at the start of the
Oh,
season.
Okay, nice.
He kicked 2 goals too. He came up to the wing into the midfield a bit, just really high. He pushed up high to the ground. The other 2 goals he could have got as well, so that could have been easily a ton for me. So I think he's probably the best rookie in the forward line. In fact, this week I'm probably putting him on field over a Davison type because that wing role is just so up and down. So I actually really like Max Hall. If you got forward rookies that you need to bring in because you got a dud, he's number one for me.
Yeah, yeah, nah, good call. And yeah, we got to make sure that we can try our best to get most of these rookies correct because um if we watch enough, if we hold off on enough of these guys, we'll run out of room for a Max Hall type. So yeah, I don't have many complaints with people grabbing onto Max Hall. Number five, Levi Ashcroft. I think he is probably one of the uh yeah, certainly a rookie that we need to be getting into our side. Plays the Eagles this week, which I think we could expect him to play more of a forward role, but I don't think Brisbane will have many issues with getting into that forward line. So yeah, I think he's a jump on for me. I know a lot of people jumped off originally because he was going to be announced as sub and then it changed. So yeah, I'd be looking at Levi Ashcroft as a jump on.
Yeah, I agree. And I've got another big call. Well, it's kind of big. I reckon he goes 100 this week.
You reckon he goes 100?
Yep, easily.
Certainly on the cards, that's for sure. Number six, we got Josh Dunkley, and I've got a feeling, Brad. I don't know if you say it like me. Probably a lot of Lockie Neal for Josh Dunkley swaps in my eyes, and
Yep.
I will call that Neal will out average Dunkley. It's not a massive call, but it might need to be a call that has to be said on a video for people to stop doing this trade. Um, I think Dunkley, I think he's got a great matchup again this week, but if this is for Lockie Neal, just don't do it. Don't do it. So he's a jump on if it isn't for Lockie Neal, but I don't know. Is it a bit of a point chasing exercise here?
It's definitely point chasing, but the only reason, I know this is wild, to advocate to trade out at Neil is if you need to split that money into a, let's say, a Baz and somebody else that you missed.
Yeah.
Just depending, like say you got cash in the bank and you could go Baz and a 400k guy that went nuts. Finn's a bad example because he's on the buy. If you could get two sort of primos out of that one, I wouldn't be hating that. But if you're just going to trade one 600k to another 600k, it makes no sense. But if you need a value primo, sure, use that pick into two. You'd have to
Yeah,
use a
okay.
boost if you
If
know,
that's an avenue to get Bailey Smith, I guess, but yeah,
yeah,
um, I think there's
worst
probably
case.
there's surely other avenues to make that happen. But yeah, fair point. Number seven is Nathan O'Driscoll, who scored a 91 with 68% CVAs. I was on Throwdown Thursdays with Damo. He was talking about O'Driscoll's CBAs. It should hold like this until Hayden Young comes back, where it could revert to a 25 to 30% CBA role, which is still nice, but obviously not as good. I think he is a rookie that people should be having a massive look at. So yes, I would be jumping on.
Yeah, for me too. I like the role. I don't know if he scores as well against Sydney. I was asking what you guys thought on your live before, but yeah, I think he's definitely bring in this week or next week for sure before his price goes up. I think he's one of the better rookies to field as well, which is an important factor. Not just bringing these rookies because you need the money, but who are they going to replace on the field that's going to outscore your other that rookie potentially. So yeah, definitely bring in.
Yep, exactly. He's got fantastic job security as well. I think he's looking at a breakout year. Real Jeremy Sharp vibes
Yep.
with O'Driscoll. At number eight, we've got Corey Warner, and I actually think, unfortunately, he's a rookie that a lot of us are going to miss. And I do think he could actually be a good rookie, Corey Warner. But I think we have other priorities to get other rookies in. So I actually don't think he's a bad option. If you're in a fantastic position with the starting rookies, you could look at a guy like Corey Warner, scored a 72 against Brisbane. I think he's looking at a decent season. I also wonder whether as well they're playing him because of the Chad Warner situation, keep him happy, play with his brother sort of thing. So yeah, he looks pretty good. So yeah, I would jump on, but prioritize certain other rookies.
Yeah, I'll jump on if you bought in a 2% rookie like I did in Dolan and he scored you like a 30 or 20 and you want a bit of cash gen early. It's not the worst idea, but Warner, I'm not sure about his scoring output throughout the season for me. Just his role is not ideal, but yeah, at least you know you're going to make cash this week potentially as well, obviously, and then he's got the buy. So yeah, it's a jump on, but probably not a necessity.
Yeah, agree. At number nine, we've got Ned Long from the Pies. I wouldn't be jumping on this. I don't know about you, Brad, but at 200K, when we've got plenty of other options that I think have better job security and just, well, that's the main thing, the job security. One bad game with Ned Long. He was literally sub in round zero. So obviously played well, not denying that, but I think there's just we can't fit all the mid rookies in if we're getting Ned Long. So I think I wouldn't be jumping on, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think DeGoey comes back this week, so CBAs go down, and Penderbury probably won't be sub again. And you wouldn't think for a second game, so there's more CBAs gone. So yeah, for me, it's just the role was there for the week, but yeah, not long term sustainable. There's other guys around the mark slightly cheaper, better than him for me.
I think part of the reason as well with Pendlebury is because of what was it, Pies playing 3 games in 12, 3 games. I don't remember the maths, but they played on the Sunday, then they played on the Saturday. Now they're moving to a Friday, so it's like back to back 6 day break. So I just reckon they were giving Pendlebury a rest in the middle there. So yeah, I wouldn't be jumping on. And then number 10 is Tom DeConning. Why wouldn't you start him? Yeah, he's a fantastic option, 547K. Yeah, bring him in, jump on.
Yeah, jump on. I think it's a huge miss if you didn't go down that route. Like he's only owned by 50% of the competition or just under. So what are the other 50 doing? I don't know. Running Matt Flynn at R2 potentially.
Oi, I heard that.
I'm just joking. I hope he gets named still this week.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'd be surprised if Flynn got dropped, but it's
Yeah.
obviously that West Coast fans weren't pleased with him, but that's fair enough. Yeah, jump on to Conning, find a way to get him in before it's too late, that's for sure. All right, that wraps things up, Brad. Thank you so much for jumping on. We're making a return for this jump on, jump off series, so great stuff, Brad.
Thanks for having me, mate. Always appreciate your time and doing this segment.
No problem, mate. And we'll be swapping around on each other's channels each week. So next week it will be on Brad's channel. It was actually going to be on Brad's channel, but we have swapped it around just due to unfortunately having a couple of computer troubles, and he's been very unlucky with technology at the minute. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, we'll do this next week on his channel. So make sure you jump onto Supercoach Pro and subscribe and follow him on Twitter too. So we'll see you guys in next week's Jump On, Jump Off. Cheers.
Sounds good.